Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of thinking highly of yourself. Now, when I was a kid, most people would try to convince me I shouldn't think highly of myself. Well, they tell me two things. One, I shouldn't think highly of myself, and I should study hard and get good grades, because if I do that, then people will think highly of me. But until then, don't think highly of yourself. Now, I'll tell you why that was incredibly bad advice. Because when you do a really, as a kid, maybe you get congratulated of getting straight A's or stuff, but once you step out as an adult and you're putting that same level of energy and effort into your field, people won't really like that. People will want you to do good, but they don't want you to do great, right? And this is kind of like the story of Star Wars with Anakin Skywalker, where they see his potential as a young kid, but they won't make the guy a Jedi Master. And that's kind of a dynamic in society that we have. And so, one of the things that, how does this relate to the topic of you have to think of yourself as a king or a queen? Well, one of the things you have to be aware of is that the way that you're treated is kind of like based on how you think of yourself when you step outside of your home, right? If you see yourself as a king or a queen, that's how people treat you. And if you don't, then people will use that as an excuse to attack you and control you and treat you like you're a peasant. It's kind of sad, right? Because I remember when I was a kid, people talk about, oh, equality, we're all equal. And then you step out as an adult in the real world and you realize, we live in this power structure, hierarchical society, and I remember being shocked about this. It's like me finding about credit. Like when I was a young kid, I didn't know what credit was until I figured out, got the education to figure out, oh, credit's about borrowing money, right? Because no one really explains it to you. It's just kind of this muddled thing in your head. And you kind of have an idea of what things are about, but you don't have a full explanation. And so I think what happened to me is that, because I didn't, I'm an easygoing person and I think highly of myself, I just noticed that people would like use opportunities to either attack me or try to control me, tell me I'm enough. I'm like, what's going on here? And it's like the better that I did, then the more the attacks ramped up, right? And so I would like gravitate towards books like the 48 Laws of Power. I mean, if you've never read that book, the first law is never outshine the master, right? That's a weird one because it's like I remember I was told as a kid you have to do well in school and people won't be impressed, but then as an adult you do too well and you're not the top dog, then people will become, they feel threatened. It's like, well, why'd you even tell me that? Why not just tell me as a young kid I should be dumb so that I can make the person above me feel better about themselves, right? That's a more honest message I would have liked. You ever like look at those like hiring ads where like they want a billion attributes, like you gotta be good at X, Y, and Z, and then here's the thing. Here's why so many people are stupid. Is because if you hire that person's actually really that talented, they're gonna be more talented than you, and you're basically violating rule number one as the master. You're hiring people, looking for people that are eventually gonna outshine you. That's why people are their own worst enemies, right? And then number two, I think rule number two was don't trust friends. And so I think because I've had so many bad experiences with people, it was like me gravitating towards these types of books, and then also me leading me just to kind of think, huh, as an adult, I understand that I'm in a different playground or a different game and set of rules, right? And there's an unfortunate truth that you just can't have actual friends at your level. What you have to have are maybe like allies, right? People that you work with, but friends at your level, it's like you either have to either be a king or a queen or you're a peasant. And whether you're a peasant or you're a king, you don't really have friends. And so like the question you have to ask yourself is you choose one. Do you want to be a king or a queen? Do you want to be royalty or do you want to be a peasant? And I didn't even know these things existed because people tell me, well, you should work start from the bottom and work any job if you can't get a job right now. And then I remember working fast food and I remember working retail and I remember like, what is this? Like I was shocked just how awful the conditions are, and I would never work these jobs, but I remember like working those jobs and everything being an excuse to mistreat others, right? And that's why like I just, again, I was shocked that this is how like the majority of society functions, and like people don't people seem to be okay with being mistreated, right? And so if you don't want to suffer at the hands of other people, what's really important is that you think highly of yourself, that you are a king or a queen. Every time I step out of the house, I just think I'm awesome, and whoever is working with me, um, uh, they're blessed. And here's the thing: you always have to like live up to that as well. Kind of like being a great actor. Like you have to think highly of yourself, but you have to actually be a good actor, right? So here's the thing: I'm going to give you a situation here, kind of as like a roadmap or a plan of how you should react when people don't recognize your greatness, right? So let's do this. So I'm going to give you a situation. So let's say you're 18 years old. I'll say 17 years old, and you applied to Harvard. And Harvard is your dream college. Okay? So let's just assume that this is you right now. Now, there's two mindsets I'm gonna put, and this kind of might seem a little harsh. So I'll think king, queen, and then I'll think peasant. Now, let's say you got rejected from Harvard, and this was your dream college. Now, how do 99% of people react? Well, this is what 99% of people do. Oh my goodness, I got rejected for Harvard. This is like the end of the world. I'm going to do anything to um what do you call it when you want them to reconsider the admissions, but let's say you do that, right? Like you get rejected and you're begging them to reconsider their decision. That's what I would call the peasant mindset, right? So let's say you get rejected, you beg Harvard to reconsider their decision, right? That's like 99% of people. Now, if you're a king or a queen, what you do is you have a mindset that Harvard is missing out, right? And that's how you should think about your business, that you have to kind of constantly promote and, tell people whatever it is that your castle or whatever you're doing is awesome. And if you don't want to join the party, then you're missing out. And this is like the 1% mindset, right? And then this is like the 99% mindset. And so this is where you want to be. Because let's say even if you like, apply to your dream job and you don't get in, and they're going to tell you, "Oh, you're not, good enough for us because of X, Y, and Z." The default response you have to have is that you're all nuts. The party's here, and if you don't want it, then get out, right? And that's how I think of myself, right? So if somebody, wants to join the group and they decide that they want to be part of it, I'm not going to beg you to join the group. Like, not going to do it. If 99 out of 100 people come fill out the form and they think it's not, worth it for the price that I'm asking for, I'm not going to beg them to reconsider the decision. I'll just say, okay, I'll follow up with you, and that'll be it. But deep down inside, if they decide that they don't want to join the group, what I'm thinking is that you're missing out. Like, you're insane. But all right, if you don't want to join the group, you're missing out. You see what I'm saying? That's the mindset you should have, that you are royalty, that you're a king or a queen. Now, here's the thing. Don't think that when you have this mindset, things are going to be easy peasy, because think about historically what kings and queens and royalties have had to go through, right? Why did they have to build castles? The reason why they had to build castles is because random people that they did not know would try to take their stuff. Hence the need for a castle, right? And you have to have an emotional castle, because when you try to have this mindset and the people who've been around you, know how you've been and you're trying to level up, don't be surprised when they try to bring you down back again, right? That's why you got to build the emotional castle, and sometimes you got to like work in silence too, right? But yeah. So this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship, just talking about the importance of thinking highly of yourself. So I think it's really important to not only to work hard, do a good job, but also think highly of yourself. And that's what's missing with a lot of people, because a lot of people have this mindset, if they don't get their dream job or they don't go into their dream college, it's like, oh, please, please take me. It's the same with home buyers and sellers, right? Like if you don't get your dream home, then you're begging the landlord or the home seller to reconsider, please do, same thing if you're the, opposite way too, right? Like if you're the home seller and you have a home buyer who was initially interested and not, and you're begging them, then you've lost your power, right? All right. So this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the link down below to the Google form. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below in the comment box, and we will speak next time.